Welcome, I'm the Deadwood Jedi. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video. We're on the free-to-play with my buddy, Mr. YST here. So excited to have you, man. Really appreciate you taking the time. We're going to talk a little bit about Clan Boss Champions for your free-to-play. We're going to do a little video here on this channel talking about some rare champions that might actually suit your Clan Boss team. And then we're going to go over to YST's channel, and we're going to talk about some epic champions that might suit your Clan Boss team. So make sure to check both of those out. I'll have his link down below, obviously. But my dude, how are you doing? How's your free-to-play going? Are you feeling confident in this competition here?
Yep, Team Queen of Hearts all the way. But jokes aside, like, I've really been enjoying the free-to-play series as always, and also to come and see you and your viewers. It's been like, we were just mentioning it before we started recording, like 1 year almost.
Crazy.
It's crazy. And obviously me and Deadwood, we chat a lot and met up a few times in London and even in Vegas. We've met up around quite a lot of places.
Yeah.
But yeah, really cool to touch base again and, you know, kind of see your account on your free to play. Like, I'm just saying, is there anything here I can take note of?
Yeah. Getting sneak peeks over here.
People have been antagonizing it this year. They're in like your stream and my stream, like, yo, you know, Deadwood's talking about you. And, not this year. I think we're cool this year.
No. I think we're gonna keep it mellow this year. It's a friendly, very friendly competition here. But you know, one of the things I've always enjoyed is like, you know, every time we talk, you know, I think we see the game in very similar ways. Not identical, which is very helpful, especially when I have to face, you know, Doom Tower bosses. But big shout out to 2024 if you guys remember that free to play series. But you know, one of the things is we do kind of see the game very similarly. So it's nice to kind of get confirmation on some of the ideas we have and like just kind of talk through some of the stuff. And that's one of the reasons I'm actually pretty excited about this video because, you know, we are both big Clan Boss fanatics, and when you're starting out the game, it's the most important thing to do. So you really got to try and lock this down as soon as possible, but it's hard because you only got so many champions. I'm struggling with it right now. I'm only, you know, we're, 2.5 weeks in, 3 weeks in. I'm only doing, you know, hard Clan Boss really, but you know, finding those right champions to take you up that level is super, super important. So why don't we start off? Why don't you start off? Name us some of these rare champions that you think can really help our Clan Boss team. Now, before we get into that, I should say, as always, the rare champions, right? They're going to fill a hole for your team. They're not going to be your team, right? It's unusual. It happens, but it's unusual that an actual rare champion is used in your Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss team, right? Usually Nightmare's about the peak where they're really going to, you know, be effective. That said, you know, sometimes they can, you know, if you're missing something, you need to get somewhere, and some of these rare champions can really fill that hole for you. So who do you got like on your list that is somebody that everybody should be, you know, keep an eye out for, is going to be you, when you pull it, I guess you get excited by it.
So there's one that I made a massive mistake. So definitely don't be like me. Well, I pulled a certain somebody called Coffin Smasher on like my second day. Yep. And Mr. YST fed him, right? You know, rushing towards my 6-star, and I kind of just thought in my head, my luck is always pretty good, and I bet a decrease attack will come, right? Yeah. No, do you know what? Until this day, 3 weeks into the competition, I don't have another decrease attack, apart from like Nazana's A3, which is clunky. And this dude is just amazing through that A1. So yeah, attacks 3 times, and was it 15% chance book will up to like 30% of placing the big decrease attack. You know, that's pretty consistent going on there. Add that with sniper masteries, you're good to go. Then on the A2, he's bringing in that single target burn, which is a nice form of damage, alongside a damage reduction passive. Like, you know, you might look at it like 5% is minuscule, but when you're trying to like get those extra turns on the clan boss, it could be the difference between surviving and not surviving, right? And Coffin Smasher enables that. So
it's huge. Really cool. I mean, you know, I don't want to brag, but, you know, this is one of the champions I actually have on my account, as well as my decreased attack champion. I did not feed him. But, you know, you were mentioning that passive ability, and I think it's important to recognize that is essentially a free mastery. because that's exactly what Blastproof does for you. And if you look at what how long your champions last with and without Blastproof, you'll know how impactful that can be. So yeah, that is he does have a very complete kit. He's definitely high on my list of rare champions to look out for. When I pulled him, I was like, oh, gonna put a pin in that guy. I'm gonna hold on to him for a minute.
I don't know what went through my head. Like, I looked at him do you know what it was? It was the one where I took him up to 5-star for Clan Boss, right? And then I was like, I'm dying to do 12-3 Brutal, and he was like a 5-star chicken. I was like, he's just a rare. I'll get somebody else. It never happened. So.
Yeah, I know that feeling. Absolutely. Most of the time that's the right move, but I feel like he is one of those few champions that you do want to hold on to when you get him. Absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to say another one that might come as a little surprise to people. It's also, we have to recognize most of these champions are going to be void. I think the best ones a lot of them are going to be void champions. This is not the best rare for Clan Boss, but this is definitely somebody that you pull, you keep, you build up. I would even go as far to say as like 6-starring this champion is a smart move and can be really good for Clan Boss. And I'm going to talk about Apothecary. Now, this is kind of an interesting one, right? Because he's not spectacular, but basically Apothecary's kit is as good, if not better, than a lot of the epics in this game, even today. He's always been considered a legendary and a rare skin. I'd say now he's an epic in a rare skin. The big thing is obviously his A3, where he gets not only a 30% turn meter or speed increase buff, but also 15% turn meter boost. This is essentially what you get from High Katoon or most, speed champions in this game.
Yeah.
It's on a 3-turn cooldown, which is insane. He also has one of the best single target heals in the game. 35% single target heal, which is big, but it can also be critical. So if you build him with 100% crit rate, this heal can be absolutely massive for you. And then he's got a triple hitter on his A1. So obviously the triple hitter on the A1, the speed boost, all that works really great in things like Fire Knight. It works great in every dungeon there is. But just as importantly, this works great in Clan Boss. One of the best ways to make up levels, go from like Nightmare to Ultra Nightmare or Brutal to Nightmare, is actually speed tune your team, go to a 2-1 ratio, or even if you don't speed tune, just go faster. Apothecary is one of those champions that can help you do that big time. So that's my choice on that one.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I've still not had the luxury of pulling it this year on the free-to-play, but, even just for other areas in the game, it's not somebody you're going to build, and even if you replace him later on, you're still going to have a use for him. Like, the aura is 21% defense in dungeons. Like, that's phenomenal for a rare, and massive heals and faction wars and, Doom Tower. There's so many situations where Apothecary fits in, and at the cost of rare books. We don't get a lot of epics and legendary books, guys, and to be able to get someone like this in rare books is really cool. So
yeah, I fully agree with that. Okay, who's next on your list?
All right, Deadwood. I don't think you're going to see this one coming, and hopefully you've not looked at this kit too much. I tried to get a little hidden gem for today's video. So, do you know who Denid the Tusk Knight is?
Oh, wait, he's new, right?
He's pretty new, but I think he's one of the most underrated rare champions in the game.
Which is he Skinwalkers?
He's not. I'm trying to put you to the test here.
Oh my god! I just looked at him too. Sylvan Watchers? No.
Okay, I'll save you the misery. He's in the Bannerlords. He's up there.
Oh, right.
Mm-hmm.
Where is he? Down here.
There he is, the Void dude.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So guys, when we talk about crazy, right? Guys, when we talk about Morag Bronzelock in this game, what do we like Morag for? AoE strengthen on a 3-turn cooldown. This is a rare dude bringing in the big strengthen, guys, not the small one, on a 3-turn cooldown. And when we talk about damage reduction, this is up there, right? Pretty bonkers when you're pulling those void shards. So I think just for this skill alone, nothing else, that's all you need, and you're going to survive a pretty long time with rare books. Yeah.
Bitter. That is a massive pull. Wasn't on my list, and you're absolutely 100% right. That is such a huge buff for your team. Like, there is no better. I mean, ally protection arguably is on par with this, I would say, but there is no better buff for mitigating damage across the game, definitely across the game, than strengthen. And the big version on a 3-turn cooldown, that's that's a really good call. Plus he's high defense, decent HP.
He's defense based. It's like he's not even like an attack champion. He's gonna be tanky for your team. He's not easily killed. You can even potentially build him in a toxic set, bring some utility in with some poisons, right? Or
Sure.
some guardian sets from the Griffin or something, absorb some more damage for your team. Like, I think he's a really good pickup if you don't like. It's a bit of a hard one for us in this free to play series because obviously with the Polarium Points program, we do get a Morag, right? At some point. So it's about weighing the options. Do you want to book up a rare champion that brings in the strengthen, or do you want to invest some epic skill terms and get like a strong damage dealer as well? But I think early game, before you get the Morag or whatever that may be, just having that buff alone is really strong.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we should sleep on that A1 with the provoke ability too, right? Like when you think about like how many, it's not just about, I mean, obviously it's about clan boss. That's what we're talking about here, but also what's the utility outside of clan boss, right? Well, we're talking Hydra, we're talking Magma Dragon. All of a sudden that provoke becomes pretty useful for you. And then, when he provokes, he gets a shield. Like, I mean, there's some decent aspects to this that I think I could see using that in a few different areas of the game. I mean, the strength alone is really strong. But when you think, oh yeah, there are some other areas of the game where he could be useful, that's not a bad investment at all.
It's pretty wild. When he came out and I was doing his guide for the website, I was like, wait a second. Because I was writing up the thing, I was like, 15% strength. And I was like, no, I was in disbelief. 25% strength.
That's huge.
Like, guys, there's only one epic in the game that does on a free turn cooldown in Morag. And for a rare to do it, it's pretty wild, man.
That is really wild. Wow. Wild, dang. Good call. I like that shout out. Wow. All right. Well, from that, we're going to go to who I consider the best rare champion for clan boss. Now, understood. Some champions are going to be better in specific teams. That's not what we're talking about. Just best overall rare champion for clan boss. This is one I used on my own, on my main account when I was first coming up. Got me into Ultra Nightmare. And of course, I'm going to be talking about Bulwark because Bulwark is just a beast of a champion. He brings a weaken. It's a small version, but small version is better than no version. He brings an HP burn, which is great. And this passive, which I think is really what he's about. Every time he's attacked, he extends the duration of all debuffs on the attacker. When you're talking about clan boss, especially affinity clan boss, where each of those AoEs are multi-hit attacks, each hit can proc this. Bulwark can really do work as far as extending debuffs. So he's one of those champions you can bring in and make sure when I put a debuff on, it's going to stay on for the fight. I find him pretty insane. He's a great lead champion for you. He's got solid, very good defense. His HP is a little bit low, but it's a defense-based champ. You can definitely build him to survive in clan boss, and I think can be pretty nice. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I 100%. It's actually funny you said that. So was this the first champion that got you to Ultra Nightmare all those years ago?
Yeah, actually it was. Like, I think I had...
Same with me. That's
crazy.
Oh,
really? Yeah. I was using him with... I think I had Kale still as my poisoner. And so, like, I had this gap of, like... I think I had a Valkyrie on my squad, too, which was, like... That took me to the next level.
That helps.
It did. But, like... what was great was like him in the lead. All of a sudden, because I was using Steel Skull. I used Steel Skull as my poisoner, which is why I always love Steel Skull. And so, but Steel Skull has such a low chance of landing them, but Bulwark would keep those up, so I could actually replace Kale with Steel Skull, get some healing, get some increased defense, and still keep my poisons because of this guy. Just an awesome. Like for me, I'll always have a soft spot in my heart for Bulwark here. Big fan.
I've also... Do you know what? One thing that's actually worth noting in a video like this, I don't think it's touched on enough. If we just briefly go into like your champion page, for instance, and just go to the blessings, right? We did, obviously, with the implementation of blessings now, there's one in the harmony section called Nature's Bounty, right? And Nature's Bounty can convert the lower variation of a debuff into the higher variation of a debuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and... So this is kind of like a power surge to literally so many rare champions in this game because many of them have 25% decrease attack, 15% weakens like a Bulwark, and if you by some chance get lucky, because it does happen from the Ultra Souls when you're popping those small ones, you might get yourself a 6-star rare, and all of a sudden this rare that you thought was kind of half crappy or just decent has now become as good as epic champions because you're now placing these bigger variations, right? Which is pretty cool.
sneak peek into my I literally recorded a video a couple days ago talking about I never done like a tier list thing, so I did a tier list. It was fun, putting them all in the different boxes, but I did it for all the rare blessings to see which one's better, because guess what I put on my Kale but Nature's Bounty. That's exactly what I put on my Kale, because I was like, those baby poisons from that A1, and it feels so good when that baby poison turns into a big poison. So yeah, I love this blessing, and I think that's a great call out, with Bulwark, with that baby weaken. You can definitely put this on him and get some good work out of that. I still don't know if that's necessarily the best one for him, per se, right? You have to kind of evaluate your team and what other champions you have going on, but I think it might be the go-to for somebody like Bulwark for Clan Boss. That's a great call out. I totally forgot about that, but yeah, that's... what's funny? Now I kind of want to go through my entire list and go like, wait a minute. Which one of these would actually benefit from that? I feel like that's such a huge difference maker.
It's massive. Like, it can completely change the direction of a player's account, because when you're like, oh, this rare, I only wish that they had, like, I don't know, not a 30% decreased defense. I want a 60%. And, you might not get it all the time if you don't have a 6-star soul, but, even at like a 4-star, get a nice little chance to do it. I think it's just like one of the best blessings to come in for progression, personally.
I totally agree. Actually, I want to check right now. This is somebody that I had on my list. See, like this
perfect example.
This is exactly it. So I think I'm just going to say this. Petrifya Rockroot is definitely somebody that you want to keep an eye out for. Now, this is definitely something that's going to get replaced at some point. Like, there's no two ways about it. There's not an Ultra Nightmare champion, maybe not even a Nightmare champion, but especially early on, I had her in my last free to play. Super good, because she actually hits decently hard. But most importantly, she brings so much stuff. And yeah, you're right. With that Nature's Bounty blessing, wow. Like, because she's going to, on the A1, decrease defense, the baby one. But if they have poison sensitivity, it becomes a big one. Well, with Nature's Bounty, maybe you can kind of, just...
get it without it,
Get it without it, right? You don't have to worry about it so much. It is a pretty low chance, right? It's a 20% chance on a hit. It's a 2-hitter, so you get 2 shots at it. 35% chance when booked, but, decreased defense is, I struggled to bring that in originally, so that was really valuable. You've got the decreased attack here and a poison debuff on this A2. They book up to 100% chance, or 100% chance for the decreased attack, 50% chance for the poison. But again, baby decreased attack, that Nature Bounty really, wow, you've blown my mind a little bit. Right? Like, yeah, it surges her value incredibly. And then, of course, you got poison sensitivity and more poison. So at the very baseline, Petrifya is a poison champion that's going to be very good and consistent for you. At the other end of the spectrum, she's also going to bring you some nice debuffs like decreased defense and decreased attack. I don't know that I'd necessarily want to rely on her as my soul bringer for those things, because they are the smaller version, but makes a really good secondary one. Like Coffin Smasher, I think, is a great pairing. He has a decreased attack that's, 30% chance on each triple hitter, right? Generally going to land, but not 100%. Well, Petrifya can be the kind of balance to, like, help balance that out. You get that when you normally wouldn't. I think that would work really nicely here. That's wow. You schooled me, my friend. You schooled me a bit, and I appreciate you for it. Wow.
Yeah, I underestimated as well, because obviously in the end game, from an end game standpoint, you don't really look at these things, right? But then when we're just dealing with what we got on the free to play, we got to just hope for the best of those souls that we get. So yeah.
Okay, look, I've taken 2 in a row. I think I just jumped the line there.
What's crazy is the 2 that he chose was my next 2, so I'm like half just when you're speaking, I'm just looking like, who's next here?
God dang it!
My list is finished. I'm joking.
All right, I'll give you 2 here.
Classic.
Yeah.
I think you will agree on this one. I'm gonna go with Marked, and
Sure. Definitely on my list.
Marked is one of those classic champions, and I believe, is she farmable? I think so, right?
Yes, she is. Yeah, you can farm her.
Yeah. Like, I think just through that A3 alone is pretty much the main thing. So we got the increased defense and the block debuffs, and it's the big variation. And having this on a 3-turn cooldown, you can stop that decreased speed from happening. The stun turn, you can extend it with buff extenders. Like, it's just such a good entry champion into bringing in those fundamentals, right? And once again, I don't want to keep mentioning Nature's Bounty. We kind of mentioned it, but decreased defense could turn to the big version and stuff. But
yeah,
I think I had a bit of issues with her last time when I built it. I think you remember, of course, out of anyone, when I was trying to beat you in the competition we had. Yeah, I did build her. She did do what I wanted her to do. Of course, the damage is lacking and sustain sometimes can be an issue with the rare champions. But overall, like, just to get to like Nightmare entry, Ultra Nightmare 4 key, I really like Mox personally.
I think she's great, absolutely. And, I think you're right. Like, she has a very specific role for you. She's going to bring you that increased defense and the block debuffs. And like you mentioned, they're the big versions, which is a huge boost on a 3-turn cooldown. It's hard to get away from that. The fact that it's farmable is a whole nother level to it. And yeah, you're right. That A1 brings you decreased defense. When you book it up, it's an 80% chance. That's not nothing. A1s. Right? It is the baby version, but again, if you don't have it, such a nice thing to get. I'm with you on this. I think Marked is fantastic. Like, obviously, if you don't need the decreased defense, you don't build her with accuracy, you build her with survivability, and she's got insanely high HP, which makes her a lot easier to build survive. But if you don't have that, add a little accuracy, and all of a sudden you've got somebody that's doing multiple things for your team. I think that's a great shout out. Marked, great choice. What's your next champion that you think we should be looking out for?
I guess to kind of shadow off the champion we just mentioned with Marked, in the Shadowkin faction, there's Odachi.
I like that. I like that little pun you did there. Shadow off it. I got you.
Yeah, do you know what? The dad jokes are coming out today. But yeah, I guess pretty much the exact same ability as Marked, but it's just a smaller variation of increased defense. So I don't think, obviously, as optimal, and with Marked being farmable, maybe not 1-2 always used. But I thought, we've also got a shield on himself, bit of protection on that A2 and an A1 provoke, like we mentioned with the other champion.
Right.
It's a decent option, if you put him super early or something, but he's easily going to be replaced, so maybe not full investment in hindsight. Yeah, I'm
fully on board with that. I feel kind of the same way. I like Odachi a lot. Actually, I think he's really helpful in things like faction wars, so there's no real harm in building him up, especially early on. But yeah, definitely not like top tier. The smaller increased defense definitely hurts in comparison to somebody like Mark. But you're right, that the shield is nice. That's not something to scoff at either. Good defense levels, solid HP, like. Definitely somebody I've looked at, in previous free-to-plays. I do think less longevity than somebody like a Marked, so probably not as worth investing as much into. But yeah, I definitely hear what you're saying on that. I think definitely still a good champion for it. Okay. Was that? Have we each named 4 champions? Is that where we're at right now, or is it 3?
I think so. Like, we're just kind of just listing them all off, guys. We're doing that in every single rare champion in the game. Buckle up.
Okay, we'll see you guys at the end of this video in 2 hours. No. All right. I think. Wait, let's see. I named Apothecary, Petrifya, and Bulwark. You've named Odachi. Oh, you've named Odachi, Coffin Smasher, and Marked. Okay, so we're at 3 and 3. Do you want to do another? Do you want to do a 4th, or should I go?
You go for it.
Okay. All right. All right. There's so many champions. I'm gonna name one a little bit off the rails here. Okay. I'm going a little bit outside the norm, and this is definitely something that's arguable. Some people may say this is an idiot choice. This is definitely not something you're bringing in for speed tuning, but I'm gonna go in the Skinwalkers, and I'm gonna say Lamibur. Yeah, I know. It sounds nuts. It sounds crazy. But hear me out. All right. A1 fills random allies turn meter. Okay. Going a little faster. A2, continuous heals on everybody. A3, big time heal and revive on death. Now, I don't know about you. If you've played with Lamibur that much, also all ally speed battle, right? I don't know if you've played with Lamibur at all. He's kind of an insane healing champion for you. Like, insanely good. Not epic level, right? But as far as like rares go, about as good as it gets. Okay, this might be a bad choice. It might be a bad choice. You might not want to take my advice on this. All I'm saying,
I'm here for it. I'm just trying to understand it. Yeah.
So here's my all right, here's my thinking on this, right? First off, the continuous heal on everybody. Really big, right? Yep. One of the hardest things, especially early on, is healing, right? If you have leech, great, everything's solved, but otherwise, healing's a real important thing. Getting this, continuous heal going on pretty consistently, really nice. 4-turn cooldown, not the greatest, right? The turn meter boost, especially when you're not speed tuned, fantastic. Stop.
Sorry.
Stop. But then we got the A3 here, right? Again, this is a bad choice. This is a bad choice. No, even I can't. Okay, never mind. I had him on the list because I like Lammerburr a lot, but okay, not valid for Clambo. We're gonna scratch that. one. I'm gonna take a mulligan on this.
It wasn't that. It wasn't even what you were saying. It was the goat was looking at me on my screen, and I just burst out laughing.
No, I have to go.
So honestly, seriously, do you think that he's somebody you'd consider on the free to play?
On the free to play, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, seriously, I probably wouldn't build him for my clan boss team in the free to play. I do like the champion a lot. I would definitely build him. Maybe not the 6 stars. Certainly not right away. Right, he's low on that list.
Yeah.
But I think there's definitely something that's going to help me in Faction Wars, probably going to help me in other areas of the game, especially where I need healing. I find Lammerburr to be quite good, right? The revive on death, even though single target also comes with a big heal, that could be really, really useful. The continuous heals are really nice. Like, I found Lammerburr to actually be quite good as a rare champion healer. It is the big version of that continuous heal too, which not a lot of champions have. But okay, look, let me pivot. And let me take it instead to a rare champion that's similar to Lammerburr, but considerably better. We'll just say Reliquary. Okay. We'll go Reliquary Tender. Okay? Because Reliquary Tender is everything we want Lammerburr to be, right? I mean, we're talking A1 decreased attack. It's the baby one, but again, we've talked. Maybe there's a blessing out there. More importantly, A2, not only do you get the continuous heal buff on all allies, like Lammerburr, but you also get a cleanse. That's really nice. And then the A3 is a revive on death or revive ability for one of your allies, so that can come in clutch if you need it. I think that's also incredibly good stats, right? High HP, high defense, good speed. This is definitely somebody you're gonna. I mean, I still use my Reliquary Tender against another spider, like in my main account.
It's a massive pool for anyone, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's just absolutely huge. So, but I do think would be really good for clan boss, especially if you need that healing. It's going to be hard-pressed to find a better rare champion than her.
Yeah, no, I agree. This goat keeps looking at me. I need to take him off my screen. Sorry, man. He's off.
You have it on your account. I see I guess what's going on. Yeah.
I was in the index when you were speaking about it. I was like, oh, wait, I was trying to understand, like, where's this going? But I think, like, just obviously, half looking at it, he does have AoE attacks. You could build him in Curse, Provoke sets. Pretty good. Yeah,
Toxic. Yeah. Sure.
I've never actually looked at him, so I was actually intrigued. No one's actually mentioned to me Lammerburr before. So.
I don't remember why I did. It was like when he came out, I was like, oh, I'll play with him a little bit. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay. Pretty decent. Yeah, it is an attack on that A2 as well, right? Which is nice. It's like, it's not just, a lot of times you do that, you place a heal and you don't get an attack out of it. You get an attack out of it with him. Yeah. He's fun. He's a fun champion. Plus he's cool. It's a big lamb. Look at this guy. Look at those eyes. How do you not want this? Oh, God, he's awful. All right, never mind. Let's move on. Name me another champion. Name me somebody else.
Oh, man. All right, we're going to go with someone that I know that you like for Clan Boss, and he's from the Lizardman, and he goes by the name of Cagebound.
Oh, totally on my list. Good call. All right. Yeah.
I think Cagebound is a pretty badass champion. Like, you know, you've got ally protection going on, granted smaller version with a continuous heal on this champion for self-sustain.
But it's 3-turn cooldown.
3-turn cooldown. What we want to see, we've got a decrease attack on the A2 and also a shield equal to 10% of their max HP. So, I think all in all, a pretty simple champion, but very effective to carry up until Nightmare Clan Boss.
I fully agree with you on this. I think Cagebound is highly underrated as a rare champion. Now, some people might be like, oh, only 25% ally protection. That's not so good. But I will point out, it's a rare champion. If you give him 50% ally protection, like there is one champion that has that, the problem is they die too quick. They take too much damage. They're not equipped to handle that. So this is actually, I think, really, really good. And that decreased attack is 100% once you get it booked. That's not nothing. And like we were talking about before, there's some blessings that could help with that sort of thing. But you're right. Every part of this kit helps with Clan Boss, defense-based champion. the HP is a little lower than I'd like, but the defense is very, very high and solid speed. Like, I do feel like this is somebody that you could bring into your clan boss team. And because it's all on a 3-turn cooldown, easily replaceable, right? So, like, when you're ready to upgrade, you don't have to break your team in order to do that. And I think that's a good call. Ooh, I like that pick. You actually,
I definitely didn't get inspiration from a video that Deadwood did 2 years ago. Nightmare Clan Boss video out now.
Don't know what you mean.
When Denid hit me up in his video, I was like, all right, best res for Clan Boss. Is there any like top picks that I may not have mentioned? And Denid popped up. I was like, perfect.
I might have done a video talking about this sort of thing before. Okay, my next one. Oh yeah, this is a sneaky one. This is one of those champions that I just love. Very similar to yours. There's other champions on this list I feel like I'm sleeping on as well, right? But we'll do a quick honorable mention of champions at the end. We'll just list some.
Mushroom Man.
Michelas is great. Okay, so we talked about ally protection. Michelas has ally protection. Here's a bonus. He's also an incredibly good healer. Well, he's a good healer. I don't know about incredibly good, but he's definitely a good healer. 3-turn cooldown. Heals all allies except for this champion by 10% of their max HP. That's solid. Puts a shield on him equal to 20% of his max HP. It is a small version of ally protection, but still, like, that's not nothing. A1 heals this champion by the damage inflicted. That's not the big thing. The other thing is he's going to heal the ally with the lowest HP by 10% of their max HP. That's pretty solid. And then the passive decreases the damage, all like a passive 5% damage decrease that he takes instead. So you stack this dude with HP, defense, and all of a sudden your entire team's kind of staying alive. So, he's got not as high HP as you'd love, right, on this kind of a champion, but very decent defense as well. I think he's really, really good. I use him a lot in my like faction wars teams. Okay. And I find him to be very, very good at that. So when you take the 5% plus the 25%, ally protection, it's a 30% protection that he's putting on your champions, which is not nothing. If you put him in a Guardian set, you're pretty much close to a normal ally protection buff right there on a rare champion. That's, I think, pretty decent.
Yeah, I've actually never heard of this guy. Weirdly, like, it's kind of surprising. He's an old one as well, right? He's
been around for a little bit.
Interesting. But I think what you said earlier does kind of correlate with what I think rare champions should be. Like, of course, we'd all have the bigger variation, but I think at that 50%, I don't think they would even survive. You'd struggle with the builds, right? Yeah. And any kind of ally protection is better than no ally protection in these traditional style teams. So, he's a good one. I'm going to keep my eye out for him. That's pretty cool.
We'll keep. I'll give a little bonus champion right here, and I will shout out the one rare champion that does have a 50% ally protection, the big version of it, and I'm talking about Myrmidon. He does have that. Guy. He has that big ally protection. The problem is, again, he dies. He just dies too easy. I've used him in a few different areas. Just doesn't really survive long enough. And so that's an issue. The other issue is it's a 4-turn cooldown, so it makes it a little bit more difficult for clan boss specifically. Mm-hmm. Brings decreased attack, brings provoke. Like, he's a good champion, very good champion. It's just he doesn't quite have, like, I wish this gave him, like, if this gave him the small strengthen buff, all of a sudden now it's very viable because, like, he has a way to kind of survive that extra damage. But every time I've tried to use him in things like faction wars and stuff, he just bites it way too quickly.
This is why when people come to me and they ask, obviously, which is understandable, like, what makes a good ally protector? And people are like, why is Torogi the best? Well, it comes down to, do they have a form of self-sustain? And that's something that Torogi does very well because he's self-healing without relying on other champions, right? He's bringing in damage reduction with decreased attack. These are the components what makes a very strong ally protector. Shields, for instance, strengthens, increased defense. So, for someone to be lacking it, that's kind of like, you need to rely on these alternative champions to fulfill that role, right? And I kind of wish that Myrmidon, going back to what you were just mentioning, that's kind of what he's lacking. But with Michelas here, or however you say Michelas, how do you say his name?
I call it Michelas.
Okay. He's got, like you said, he's got a shield, right? 20%.
Yeah.
Important.
That's big, especially when you're talking about an ally protection champion. So his HP is something you're going to be stacking anyway. So that's a pretty sizable shield that he's going to give himself. He's not going to heal himself. Right, but he's healing the rest of your team, which allows you to then focus some healing on him, which I think is a good compromise there. All right. So who's your last champion? We're trying to do 10. You've done 4. I've done 5. Well, actually, kind of did 6.
I think we're way above that at this point, honestly, but we just can't remember.
Maybe.
Happens. We get excited about Clan Boss. You can tell it's been a while.
True. It's very true.
Man. Okay, I think there's one that you actually pulled that I've seen on your account right now, and that is Doom Screech.
Oh, interesting shout out. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I actually built an Ultra Nightmare team around Doom Screech. Believe it or
really?
Not. And yeah, I've got a video out there somewhere. I don't think it even went out to many people, but there we go. But yeah, on the A2, 3-turn cooldown, 30% 10 meter fill with an increased defense. And so the way that I built Doom Screech from an endgame standpoint, I'll give you guys both the ways here, is if you're building a team based around defense-based nukers, i.e., I don't know, Harimas or, Missionarchies, just to name a few. I know they're legendaries. Increased defense is obviously very valuable because you're getting sustain and you're also increasing their damage. But then also in other style teams, you're just getting increased defense for sustain, right? And it works well in unkillable or non-unkillable teams. So yeah, really cool champion. Build him in a toxic set. Like I mentioned, with someone like Seek, who's an epic, but very similar champions in their own rights. And yeah, man, it doesn't take too many books if you get lucky with the A2. I think he's really good.
No, it doesn't. I think you're 100% right about that. I do like even the shield buff that he gets right here. Even though it's on himself, it's like that's not shabby. Super high HP, kind of low defense, which is unfortunate, but this skill right here on a 3-turn cooldown is massive. I always struggle because the turn meter boost is so strong. To speed tune around it becomes really tricky because it is on a 3-turn cooldown, and so like finding ways to kind of keep that consistent for your entire team can be a little bit difficult and like get a regular speed tune. That said, as you've said, you've built a team around it. It's not impossible to do. And it's...
By the way, I'm not being rude on my phone. I'm literally just trying to find the team so I can say which one it was in.
You're good. Yeah. No, we need that shout out. I think someone here is definitely going to go watch that video right now, myself included. But yeah, Doom Screech is a good shout out. I like that. That's one of the reasons why I haven't sold them. Somebody else was saying actually, like, especially early on, if you have somebody with a speed aura, like a Sun Wukong, then Doom Screech can actually fill that role of being your speed booster, right? Just got to build them fast.
So the team that I actually put him in, and this was a team that I used for a long time, was, of course, we can use him in traditional style teams. He hasn't got the extra turn. Like sometimes someone like a Deacon Armstrong could be a very hard build to do for an average player because timing around those extra turns, you're losing your buffs, he's getting stunned, your team could fall apart, right? I actually had him in an unkillable team with Demiffer, and it was with Seeker and Doom Screech, interestingly enough. And it's kind of maybe like a 2 to 3 to 1 team. I don't know what I did here, but it was a really cool team that actually worked very well. And, the whole idea was boosting up my Missionarchi's damage. And I actually used him for a long time, I remember. So yeah, you can go end game or early game, which is
that's cool. Wow, no, that's a great call out. I love it. All right, well, that's 10. Let's real quick, some champions that we didn't mention that probably should get noticed. Seducer here, 2-turn block debuff, right? And increased defense, small version, but definitely somebody worth looking at. Frozen Banshee, insane poison champion. Everybody knows about her. And if you don't, you should. Grave Chill Killer. Brings a decreased defense, can be the big one when paired with somebody like a Frozen Banshee. Also poisons. Definitely somebody I would pay attention to. Those are the 3 big ones that I wanted to mention. There's also Selenia, I think, is a newer champion that brings an HP burn. That's a really nice one. And like does some solid healing on the A1, A3. Like she has some good stuff in her kit. So focus around an HP burn. Definitely worth looking at, I would say.
I think maybe 2 honorable mentions as well could be Heiress and Painkeeper.
Oh, sure. Well, Heiress, obviously.
I guess, obviously the A2 on her is phenomenal. It's just, it depends on the type of team. Like, of course, you can get increased speed from many areas, but being able to cleanse off a debuff, it can keep you affinity friendly, great for Demiffer teams. And
the thing with Heiress, she's fantastic. She gets a natural counterattack. She, like you said, she has a cleanse, increased speed. The one negative is her HP is so abysmally low that it's almost impossible to keep her alive. So you basically only can use her for unkillable teams. That's the That's the problem with her,
It's
right?
the downside, yeah. It's just where she's good at it very well. But then obviously, same reason for Painkeeper, right? A part of many man-eater compositions, including the famous Budget Unkillable, which you can find the speech in over on deadwoodjedi.com.
Yep.
Yeah, so obviously decreasing the cooldowns. I've seen teams of like 2 of them in there. I think I've even seen 3 at one point with like 1 man-eater.
Definitely.
Which is interesting. And it just enables teams for players where they don't have the champions, or you just want to build a simple but effective team, right? To get to Ultra Nightmare.
This champion is so good. Honestly, she's like probably, top 5 on our list in reality. But she's got insanely high HP, which is great for keeping her alive. Defense is low for sure, but the speed is good. And like you said, the cooldowns are a really big effect. Don't sleep on this A2. It is a big heal for your team. Yeah. She's definitely worth building up. She's definitely worth 6-starring. I don't care what level of the game you're at. She will be useful for you. Yeah, definitely 100% her. One other, we got to shout out Kale. I know it's a starter champion, but this is one of the reasons why everybody starts with Kale, because it brings so many poisons for your team on the A1, on the A3. Definitely somebody that, is going to be good. Like, he'll be my poisoner until I get to Ultra Nightmare, unless I pull somebody, notably better than him putting out poisons. But yeah, definitely a really good one. There's other champions that I think are maybe, worth paying attention to. Fellhound, Hellborn Sprite, Fanatic, Tree Shield Knot. There's some Avir. There's some other interesting ones, but I think we went through all the big ones. I think we hit the big boys, and this was a blast. So guys, make sure go check out my buddy YST's channel, because we're going to do a collab there talking about some epic champions that you might want to be on the lookout for. So if you enjoyed this, you're definitely going to enjoy that. And yeah, I think that's our video today, buddy. Thanks so much for coming on and hanging out with us.
Oh, no, anytime. I love speaking about Clan Boss. I like hanging out with you, of course, and your viewers. And it's been a long time before we spoke about Clan Boss, right? And just collabing in general. And it's always cool to touch base. And let's not make it another year for the next one,
100%. I agree. You're on with that for sure. Guys, don't forget to go subscribe to YST's channel. I'll put that link down below as well. But yeah, we'll see you guys in a minute at the other video. And YST, thanks so much. Till next we meet, I'm the Deadwood Jedi.